Hello everyone and welcome to the Dynamics 365 for Field Operations presentation. We're happy that you could attend. Today we'll be taking you through the solution from beginning to end over the next hour. Little introduction about myself. My name is Dirk Schrader. I'm CTO and Senior Consultant at CRM Dynamics. I've been doing CRM solutions for over 20 years and at CRM Dynamics for over 10 years. We've done over 200 clients, and I would like to introduce Pierre Bertrand, who is in charge of sales and marketing and the product lead of our field service solution. Pierre.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we'll be taking you through, as Dirk mentioned, the solution. But what we're going to start with is also going to be just an overview of the trends in your industry, because we're talking to a lot of prospects, a lot of clients in the HVAC and trades, and we just want to give you an idea of what's coming, what's happening in the industry, and what some of the best-in-class practices are. So just as some background, so we've got industry experience including HVAC contractors, equipment dealers, field service organizations. As Dirk mentioned, we've done multiple projects. Our team has experience with both ERP and CRM implementations. CRM Dynamics, as Dirk mentioned, has done over 200 successful CRM projects. And we're actually one of the first partners, one of the first Microsoft partners to be certified in field service. And Dirk's been doing CRM projects for almost 20 years, as he mentioned. Now, we do have some experience in your industry. Here's a couple of clients that are in the equipment dealers / trades industry. So Yale Chase, one of our clients in California. Pressure Clean, Lifto, Climatech, our organizations here in Toronto, close to our head office. MHS Lift is in New Jersey, so we do have a lot of experience with organizations that send teams in the field to do maintenance and PMs for different pieces of equipment.
And actually, Pierre, Lifto is Toyota's largest equipment dealer outside of Japan.
Absolutely. They have multiple branches in Canada and also some branches in the U.S. They're one of our best clients. But we also have done work, as Dirk mentioned, for many other clients. So here's another more exhaustive sampling of some of the people we've done work with. So you'll see there banks, you'll see colleges, universities, manufacturing companies, etc. So when we talk about best practices and when we implement CRM and field service for our clients, we bring in best practices not just for your industry, but we're also more than willing to bring in ideas from other industries to try to really make your business fly. So let's talk about some key stats, specifically in field operations, field service. So Aberdeen is a company that does a lot of research across multiple industries. And what they came up with when they looked at field services, they said that best-in-class field service organizations are 72% more likely than peers to utilize visual collaboration tools. And what's meant by that is really visual route planning and dispatch management to really make the job easier. Later on, we'll talk about how that can bring you concrete benefits for your business and also how we can do that with the tools that we're talking about. Also, 52% of companies are still using manual methods to handle field service. But really, as the team gets bigger, getting the right people to the site on time becomes increasingly difficult. And at the same time, we see with Aberdeen that field service accounts receivable error rates are very high, but only 14% among those utilizing cloud-based software. So if you imagine you've got manual processes, 52% of the companies still use manual methods. So if you got a paper work order, your technicians go out in the field with a paper work order, they come back a week, 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks from what we hear with clients, back with the paperwork. That gets transcribed back into a system. There's errors. Invoicing runs happen. So it can be a month and a half before your client gets their invoices. Now, if it's been that long, they might not remember the work that was done. There might be errors in transcribing. So you get a lot of accounts receivable errors with those processes. But if there's no errors, if your clients know the work that was done, have approved the work, have signed off on it, you have documentation, really, the error rate goes way down and your AR cycle goes much, much quicker. So we'll talk about that later on.
Actually, Pierre, that brings up a good anecdote we have. One of our recent clients, the owner-manager, when we bought the software, he showed us his desk, and it was stacked with about 4 inches of paper. And he said, if this is successful, I'll have no paper on the desk. And I think he saw his desk, the wood on his desk, for the first time after we went live. So.
For sure. That was one of our local clients here in Toronto, for sure. So let's talk about some trends in field operations, specifically for trades. So dispatch and optimization is a big one, and we'll talk about optimization. We have a lot of material to show you there. The other one is really greater integration with one solution from one provider. So we're hearing people having systems for quotings, for orders, another system to manage agreements, another system to manage the service orders and the work orders, potentially a purchasing, a dispatching, something else for invoicing, integration with payroll. So we see lots of different systems in the same organizations. And the anecdote that Dirk mentioned a couple of minutes ago, the fact that all this paper was on this gentleman's desk was partly due to this. Because he needed to print out the sales order, re-enter it somewhere else, compare it against the work order. It was just a whole mess on his desk. So that's one of the things we tried to do for him is clear that up. And the other thing we'll talk about as a trend, specifically in your industry, is the power of mobility, giving your field workers information they need when they need it. And lastly, connecting equipment. So there's a big trend right now across many industries, not just yours, for what's called connected field service. And we'll give you an overview of some of the more interesting cases around that.
Yeah, and just one comment on that. In the past, mobility was a big barrier because you'd have to get specialized equipment. What we have is whatever your techs have as their own favorite devices, be it their smartphone or a tablet, they can use that. So half of our clients, they don't even have to buy hardware. They just give an allocation to the field techs, and they bring in their own hardware. So that makes it really nice and easy.
Absolutely. And one of the things we've done with that too is some of our clients want to scan barcodes. And they can also do that with their own phones and their own hardware. So in many cases, there's no need to buy fancy barcode readers anymore. They could just use their phones, reducing costs and making it much easier to use the devices. So the first item on there was dispatching and optimization. Let's drill down in there a little bit more. So really, many service organizations are trying to decrease the distance between appointments so you can fit more appointments in a day. And also, a lot of what people are looking for is to be able to provide a tighter window for the appointment for customers. So as the business grows, it gets really difficult to schedule all these appointments. And also, from a manual intervention point of view that you see here, everyone knows that the schedule is going to change on a daily basis. Dirk, if you think it's going to take 5 hours to do some work, how likely is it to actually take exactly 5 hours?
Well, exactly. And you just lose track of the posted notes and the sticky notes and the voicemails, and how the hell can you coordinate what's happening up to the minute across all your techs?
Exactly. So optimization and those scheduling boards that are now available really gets you to fit more appointments in a day. They reduce the manual intervention, handling all the changes that happen during the day. They allow you to prioritize your highest value customers. So if you have 2 emergencies coming up, and one is for a high priority customer, if you don't see that very easily, you might not send the text to the best place. So it really helps that. And it helps also minimize driving time. Now that's obviously really important for most organizations. Now, some of the things we've heard from Microsoft is that one of the early adopters of their optimization application and their dispatch board, a company called NAFCO, was able to increase its average number of appointments per day for each technician from 3 to 5. Now, that's huge. That's almost 40% increase in number of visits, same number of technicians.
And that's a 40% increase with the same cost, right? Your same overhead. Think of the impact on your bottom line.
Absolutely. Tremendous. Now, no one's going to guarantee that you'll be able to increase by 40%, but if you imagine you increase by 1 visit per day on average, or half a visit per day, your system gets paid really quickly, and the value is huge for most organizations that have large teams out there doing field service. The second point we had was the integration part. So many organizations have many systems they're dealing with. Typically what we see is 3 to 6 separate systems. So email, contact management, sales and quoting, email marketing. A lot of you use MailChimp and other applications like that. There's service orders and agreements. Some of you have inventory management software that takes care of all that for you. Most people have financials, etc. So when you really start to take away all of these different systems and bring it all under one umbrella, it really gives you what we call complete visibility on the entire business. You don't need to pull up a sales order. You don't need to pull up an account. You don't need to go into a separate system to see the financials, to see if you're making money. It's all in one system, and we're going to show you that. So one of the really important things for a lot of organizations is getting everything under one environment.
Yeah, and just to make a note on that, whether you have 5 service techs on the road or 105 service techs on the road, getting the view of your business is key to your success.
Absolutely. And what it does also is, imagine if you don't have to re-enter data 2 or 3 times, you get better data accuracy. So the information is entered only once. Huge value there. So you get better information, you get it faster, and all your reporting is in one place. So that's why really greater integration and going under one platform is really a very strong trend right now. And it also gives you what we call one source for truth. So going to your account, you see your work orders, you see your sales orders, you see your opportunities, you see who we've talked to, who's been communicated to, phone calls, emails, etc. Everything's in one spot. So if you extrapolate that, as we'll talk later on with mobility, and if everyone can get all the information in one spot, the value is huge. And finally, back to the example of the desk laden with paper. Hopefully you'll be able to use less paper and have everything online very easily.
You know, another thing about the less paper is you have key people in the organization for the first time ever can actually go on vacation. Think about that.
What a concept. Well, we should do that maybe once in a while.
I think so.
Yeah. The one last quick comment I want to make on this. So we deal with a lot of organizations that have, as I mentioned, several systems. What happens very often is a lot of finger pointing between vendors. So if you imagine one software gets upgraded, something doesn't work, whose problem is it? Who do you get to help you? Having everything under one umbrella really makes it one vendor and one partner to deal with. So it really simplifies the business for you.
I think one of our clients call it one throat to choke.
Yes, I've heard that one. So let's talk about mobility. So it really is about putting all the information at your fingertips. So a couple of things there. It's about giving your technicians and your mobile team information, but it's also about you knowing where everyone is and what they're working on. So if you imagine all the organizations out there using manual processes, using paper, we have several clients that give their technicians a pile of work orders at the beginning of the week. And the technicians are left up to them to figure out what sequence they're doing the work in and where they're going. So they never get visibility on where technicians are. It gets very difficult to respond to emergencies, to respond to changes in schedules, and you never know what they're working on. So if a client asks you when is a technician arriving, you don't know. How long is it going to take? You don't know. So it really gives you much better information to be able to manage your technicians.
Yeah, and included with that is actual location services. So, you know, if one of your technicians accidentally gets detoured to the baseball game and you see their locations there, you might have a little chat, right? So.
Absolutely, absolutely. And knowing where your employees are, especially for field technicians, is very key, especially if you want to increase the number of calls per day. So as we hinted at, it really helps you become responsive. So when we show the dispatch board later on, you'll be able to see where your technicians are, and you'll be able to see the route that they'll be taking to go to their next service call. So if an emergency comes up, you can really quickly see on the map where that emergency call is. You can see who's expected to drive by there at what time, so you can really be responsive and grab the best person to do the job while still minimizing travel time and getting as many calls as you can.
Yeah, and if I can just add on that, so Microsoft's done a tremendous job with the dispatch board, but they actually purchased this product from a company called Field One. And Field One has been doing dispatching for service technicians for over 10 years. So you're really getting a product that's got a long history and a very large install base across North America.
Absolutely. Now, we talked about being responsive, getting the information. Now let's talk about what the actual users will get. So from there, it's really about getting them the information, putting it where it's needed. What we mean by that is someone shows up at a location. The person you're supposed to talk to isn't there. Well, the ability to look up at the account, see what other contacts are there, and see who else they can contact to open a door to help them out, all the information is there. Finding the address, seeing what other equipment is on site, seeing what other service work has been done on that equipment previously. Because if you show up and someone says, well, you just fixed this last month, you can go in and verify that someone did fix it, or no, they fixed something else. So it's not under warranty. It really gives the technician the information they need on the spot, on demand, when they need it.
Yeah, and that information also includes actual pictures. So if the service tech is at a certain door, they can actually take a picture of it and add that into the account with notes saying, this is the door. When they're doing work on the equipment, they can take pictures of it, and that can be included in the invoice. So that just, greatly, the saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Absolutely. That's to capture better information. So they can capture pictures, they can add information and notes to the work order, they can even capture the signature of the person they're dealing with over there. So imagine now, instead of sending an invoice based on a handwritten work order with no signature on it, or something that you can't really access back again, the customer sees the work, sees the picture of the before and after. That's all archived as part of the work order. The signature is on there. You can hit a button, it gets pushed to the invoicing system, and you can invoice the same day if you want. So really, really, really brings down your cash cycle, brings money in the door faster, reduces the work to handle all the exceptions, all the questions, and all the errors. So really big, big, big impact. And your customers will just be delighted for the service. You're more responsive, you're getting better information, you're getting there faster, you're getting there on time, and you know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because the things you need to do to make the customer happy are the exact same things you need to do to make your business more profitable. So it's a win-win.
Absolutely. Now, the other item we had on our list originally that we wanted to talk about as a trend is connecting equipment. Now, what really happens there, it's really the difference between scheduled maintenance and just-in-time maintenance. So what I mean by that, a lot of the organization we talk to, maintenance is ideally driven based on usage. For example, lift trucks or blowers, or a lot of the equipment that everyone on this call is maintaining. You have maintenance contracts. You show up every 3 months, every 6 months, twice a year. But it's really, the maintenance should ideally be driven based on usage, based on meter hours, on usage hours, etc. So by being able to drill down and do maintenance based on actual usage, just in time versus scheduled, there's many, many benefits that we'll talk about. So let's take an example of a boiler, for example. So a boiler can send its temperature reading through a connector. The basic scenario is you get an alert, it's received automatically by the system, the boiler has a problem, it's running too hot. So then we can automatically, best practice is to automatically dispatch a field service person, create a work order, technician goes in and fixes the boiler. That's one way to handle that issue. Now, some of the best in class companies are actually taking this one step further. Some devices have the capability not just to send information on issues, but also to take commands. So some boilers, for example, if there's an alert, sends it overheating. Some devices have the capability for you to send back a command saying restart, reset, and then you can see whether that has had an impact. So if you think about the equipment you're maintaining, boilers, HVAC equipment, pumps, bearings, drives, lift trucks, etc., if you have the capability to connect those devices, if there's already a connection available, or if you can add something to connect the device to the system, you're able to do the maintenance just in time. You're able to go in and fix things before they're broken. That's really the difference between what we call the basic break fix. You've got preventative maintenance. You go in when you expect it. The advance is a device sends you a notification that there's a problem that you can go in and fix prior to it completely failing. And the expert is the device sends you a note, tells you there's a problem. You can troubleshoot and potentially fix it remotely. And if it doesn't work, then you can dispatch someone on site.
Yeah, that's incredible technology. And in case anyone has heard the technical talk out there, it's called the Internet of Things, IoT. So there you go. I bet you didn't know it directly applied to you.
So just recap on the monitoring and self-heating, the real benefits there are, first of all, decreasing the number of repair appointments. So if you need to do a maintenance on a piece of equipment every 10,000 hours, well, if you actually show up when you're actually at 10,000 hours versus when you think it is, then you reduce the number of appointments. You can actually identify and fix problems very often before the customer is aware. So imagine you show up, you tell the customer, I'm coming in to fix your blower. Well, there's no problem. So there's no problem yet. But the bearings are starting to vibrate. The bearings will go in the next week. We want to fix it before it breaks and before you have to call us and you're in an emergency situation. So it's really about solving issues before they fail. In some environments, it could also mean identifying underperforming products. What we mean by that is if you have 3, 4, 5 pieces of equipment, one is always being used, the other ones are not. Well, that one is going to fail much quicker, so the maintenance schedule might not be appropriate, but the other ones are not getting any use. So there's opportunities to identify underperforming products so that your clients can then spread the use amongst several assets and then get equal usage out of them.
Yeah. So what this means to you is you can sell a higher value preventative maintenance agreement and actually have to spend less money in maintaining that level of service.
Exactly. And you see the difference between Dirk and I. Dirk's the business guy and I'm more on the technical side. So I'm always talking about features and what he can do, but Dirk really brings it back to the benefits of the business.
It's all about the money.
It's all about the money, absolutely. So also allows you, as we mentioned earlier, to do just-in-time preventative maintenance. So you have a contract, you're going to do maintenance, well, you just show up when it's needed, not when you're scheduled. Have someone come in and see the asset hasn't been running for 2 months, and you basically waste the call. So that's what we really want to do with this. All right, so what we're going to do now is just bring it back to something concrete. Let's talk about the solution. So it's called Dynamics 365 for field operations. We talked about bringing everything under one umbrella. So what this solution has, and obviously as I go through this, we don't mean for you to look at all these circles and decide to do everything at once. That's not the objective. We just want to give you an idea of what is covered on the umbrella to show you that this is a platform that you can grow with. You can start with a couple of modules. You can add, as they're called, the Internet of Things, etc., and grow with it. So it has, obviously, marketing. So creating your marketing campaign, seeing who opens your emails, creating any kind of marketing automation to communicate with your clients is included. Obviously, there's something called insights. So a lot of our clients tell us that the sales reps don't like CRM because they have to enter client names. They have to enter phone numbers, email address, all the contacts, the address, the SIC codes, description of the company, etc. Insights in Dynamics 365 allows you to type in a partial name. So for example, if you typed in CRM Dynamics, not the full name of our business, but just CRM Dynamics, and you click save, it would show you the company, you would select it, and then it would update phone numbers, contacts. You'd see Dirk's picture in there, his contact information, his phone number, his email, and with a couple of clicks, you could update all the accounts and all the contacts really, really easily. So it really takes a lot of the effort from sales reps to be able to manage and enter all that information in there.
Yeah, and it really makes the prospecting part of the business a no-brainer, which is always helpful.
So it has a sales module. That's what people typically have called the past CRM. So managing your leads, your opportunities, your sales pipeline, your sales forecast, your dashboards for your sales managers to be able to see all the information in one spot. That's obviously in there. We also have something called gamification. Some of our larger clients are looking at that. Gamification, if you're familiar with fantasy football, It's really a tool that puts in a bit of competition with the salespeople. So you can see who's closing more deals, who's making more calls, who's got more leads, who's following up faster, and make it a game that is visible to everyone in the organization. So a couple of things that does. First of all, it really drives adoption, because if you're the one lagging because you're not putting the information in, it looks really bad. So that really helps drive adoption, but also makes it fun, and it boosts performance. So a lot of companies implementing that have seen big boosts in sales numbers at the end of just a couple of months. Document management. So we talked about getting the information to people where they want it, when they need it. So this allows you, for equipment, for example, to have service manuals, to have wiring diagrams, to have a whole bunch of documentation and images available as part of the system, and available both for people working in the office and people in the field. So it all ties in together.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add into a point here. The entire solution is on the Microsoft Cloud. So what does that mean? That means I don't have to have a shared drive on someone's computer in the office. When that hard drive fails, or when someone spills coffee on the computer, all that information's gone. No, it's up in the cloud. It's backed up across multiple different data centers automatically. Practically foolproof. So your entire server management, installing software patches, having your IT person trying to figure out why a virus got on a computer and what's causing all those problems with the server. All that goes away now. And as long as you have an internet connection and a browser, you're up and running, whether you're at the office or at home or on the field mobile. So just wanted to make that point.
For sure. And some of the other things we hear about on that topic, Dirk, I was just at a client last week, and the reason he really liked this is if someone leaves the company, if a salesperson leaves, all the information is there. Information does not leave with the person. They're using the system. Documents are there. Contacts are there. Leads are there. Everything is there in one spot.
Spreadsheets, paper, all that's there. But now you click on one account and you hit lock the account, and that's it. That person doesn't have access to anything. Good point.
So we have something called service management. So some of you get phone calls and answer questions, provide support, answer questions, provide troubleshooting. So something called service management that does that. So we create a case, someone resolves it, they either send a documentation, send an email, they're on the phone, they resolve the case, they close it, and then that gets archived. So there's a service management module in there that allows to put in cases against queues assigned to people. So for those of you who have teams that answer phone calls, that answer live chat, that answer service requests on email, that's a really, really good tool. And then there's something called field service or field operations, which we talked about, and we'll give you a better overview. So that has all the functionality around the mobile application for your field technicians. We talked about optimization, so it has your dashboards, it has your dispatch board, all that other functionality. So that's the old Field One product, as Dirk was pointing out earlier. IoT. So Dirk hinted at that earlier, Internet of Things. So the functionality is available under the platform to gather all the data from all the different devices in one spot to then be able to trigger actions, to trigger, for example, field service calls, to trigger responses to the devices. Everything is available on that platform to manage that. Machine learning. So that's the layer that you add between IoT and field service. So IoT, device comes in, sends you a note, there's a problem as we talked about, so field service can generate the work order. But if you want if you want the device to be automatically troubleshooted and for commands to go automatically, well, there's something called machine learning. So the system can learn based on what's failed before, when it's failed, how long it took. It can actually learn and start to do some predictive analysis for you to tell you, hey, this device has been serviced in 3 months. The weather's been like this, so you should go in because it'll do, even though the hours are low, it probably will be due because similar devices have failed in the past. So that's a layer that will actually learn based on your data. Most people have heard about ERP system, Enterprise Resource Planning System. So that's what has your purchasing, your inventory management, if you make parts, if you make replacement parts or ducts or whatever it is, it also has the manufacturing piece of your business. So that's also available as part of the platform to tie everything together. But if you're a bit smaller and you're not making parts, you're mostly doing some field service. If you're in HVAC, if you're in plumbing, etc., we have what's called financial. So it's a simplified version. It does your chart of accounts, your purchasing, your basic inventory management, your AP, your AR, etc.
Yeah, we find most of our clients are in the financial space. So if you're on QuickBooks, if you're on GP, if you're on Navision, if you're on a Salesforce financial system, most competing products fit into the financial when we do the upgrade.
Absolutely. We talked about mobile already. So there's a mobile application for salespeople. All the information is there. And there's obviously a mobile application that's a bit simpler for all your techs. You have email and Microsoft Office. So that's part of the Microsoft platform, and all this integrates into your email. So you can see information on your accounts, on your field service from your inbox.
Yeah, and all that software has both the web version and the laptop or desktop version. So for example, you can open up Excel on the cloud. You don't have to install the software, but you still have the choice to install it locally if you want to.
Another interesting component, voice of the customer, allows you to do surveys. Easy example there, service work is done, the work order is closed, survey goes in by email to the client. Was the service technician there on time? Was the work done to your satisfaction? Was the site left clean, etc.? Comes back, gets put against the client, gets put against the technician, then you can get to measure customer satisfaction.
Yeah, and this is a proven fact. If you do a survey and the customer complains back to you, that's way better than having them complain to a potential customer of yours.
And the last thing is what we call business intelligence and reporting. So for those of you who like to play with lots of data, reporting, etc., there's a BI, a Power BI component that's included in your license, allows you to do extensive reporting and analysis of your data.
Yeah, and that's across all the different modules, right? So I can do a report that will pull data from financials and field service and service management and IoT and sales, for example. It all works as one database in the back end.
Now, let's get off this and start show you what a solution would look like on this platform. Field service automation. So let's talk about this a little bit. We'll go in and show you in the software later on what this looks like. But in a nutshell, let me just point to a couple different things. So the first one is just where my cursor is. See, there's a map. So the map shows you the work order, shows you your technicians, where people are located, and you are able to schedule based on where people are located physically. On the bottom here, all your work orders are listed with their status. As you look at your chart here, you see the different people that are able to be scheduled. The color coding is based on the customer that's there. And as you see, there's little lines. So the dark blue line is the travel time to get to that location. And the light blue line is the progress. How much work have they done? Have they been there for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours? If you were to highlight the work order at the bottom, you see the details. So this really allows you to see very, very quickly who's where, who's working out what, where are they located physically, where is other work located around, and the gray buttons here are work that is unassigned. And by the way, this can all be customized. If you like to see the work that's unassigned, we can have that. If you want it in red, we can do that. If you don't want to see it, we can do that. That's with something that's called the filter tab that I'm pointing to right now. I'll show you that in detail.
Yeah, another thing to note is we took a screenshot so you can easily see all the information. If this was displayed on a very large monitor, like a 48-inch TV set, everything gets much bigger. The map is larger. Instead of seeing 5 text, I can see 25 texts. The application grows to fit the screen size that you give it, and it can also support multiple monitors. So then you can see everything.
At the top here, you've got several options on the mobile side, different applications that have different level of details and simpler ones, more complex ones. some of our clients like to be able to send text messages to the location where they're going. So in this example here, you see the driving instructions from where Sylvia is to where she's going. We can add to that actual traffic and show her options for routes. And she's able to send a text message to the customer to say, I'm almost there, or I'll be there in 10 minutes, or I'll be there in an hour.
Yeah, and that's up to you if you have your text communicate with the customer directly, or if they communicate to your dispatch and then a customer service representative would handle the customer conversation. So that's up to you. The software can handle both.
Now we have a couple of interfaces. Some of the clients have told us we really want something simple for our technicians. We don't want them to be able to create quotes, to be able to create orders, to add new customers. We just want them to see where they're supposed to go, get driving instructions, see the work order, be able to put in their time, and then go on to the next one.
Yeah, and one thing you can do is you can start with the lower functionality solution, and at any time you can swap it out with the higher functionality solution, right? So it's fully in your control what you want to do.
So let's look at the application in a bit more detail. So once you're logged in, the simpler interface, which a lot of our people that are in trades and HVAC like, information is very simple. There's a customer button, a place to enter your task and your time. You can see all your work orders. You can see the ones that are scheduled with you. You can look at your PMs, and you can look at your past due PMs. Very, very simple interface.
Yeah, PM stands for planned maintenance, by the way.
Yes. Sorry, I tend to use acronyms a little bit. If you're using a phone, it scales. So you get the screen shrinks, but you still see all the information, big buttons, very easy to use. As you drill down, if you look at your work order, for example, as you see, it's a very simple interface. So you see the couple of work orders that are scheduled for you, and you can pick a work order and then start doing your work. So if you pick a work order, it shows you the details. So this is also customizable. If there's more things you want to see or less, we can accommodate that. But what a lot of people want to see is the service location, so where are they going, task and times. They want to see what the tasks are they have to work on, the time that's supposed to take, and be able to put in their actual time. A lot of our clients want their technician to be able to go in and buy things. So for example, you're there, you're missing a part, you're missing a valve, you're missing something. They want them to be able to go to the local store, local supplier, and pick up what's missing. And from there, they can actually enter that and goes against the work order. So it all ties it into one spot. And when you go in and decide to put your time in there, you pick the task that you're working on, say I'm done, I'm not done, and if you're done, you put the time in, and your time gets recorded against the work order. Then that flows through to the invoicing.
Yep, so automatically you get a full time schedule of each of your techs, what they did. It can drive your billing if you pay your techs that way. If you have salary versus utilization reports, you can see the data that way. And no extra data entry. It all happens automatically straight from the handheld.
And when you're finished your time entry, basically you have a look, see where your next work order is, look at your driving instructions, and go to the next stop. So it makes it very, very simple.
Yeah, with real-time traffic updates.
Absolutely. So it makes it really nice. You see where you guys are. You see if they're wasting time. If someone is stuck somewhere, if they're stuck on a job that's going to take longer, you'll know. They can communicate that with you. There's texting available. There's a lot of different functionality available to be able to communicate back. So if needed, you can assign someone else to the next job if they're going to be longer than expected. So that's the field service piece. Now we talked about this being a full solution. So it obviously has account management. Account management is where you can see all the information for your account. So here, the account that we have, for example, as an example, you have all the information on your account. You have all the different contacts. Most of our companies that we're dealing with in your industry have what's called a parent account and a billing account, and even some child accounts. Example, if you're working for Home Depot, you might be billing Home Depot Canada or Home Depot US, but you might be doing some work at all the different stores. Same thing if you're dealing with any other chain. So this allows you to specify where the work is happening and where the work is being billed. As you go down through those screens, one spot to see all the information. We like to call it a 360-degree view of your customer. So as you go down your account management, you see more details. You can see all the assets that are attached to that account, all the pieces of equipment. If you were to drill down in these assets, you'd see all the work that was done. You'd see any maintenance contracts attached to these assets. You can also see, as part of your accounts, all the agreements. So if you have several maintenance agreements, full maintenance, some preventive maintenance, you can see all the information there. You can see whether it's active or estimated.
Yeah, so I just want to bring up the point. Anything you see in blue is actually a hyperlink. What that means is when you click on it, you go directly to that information. So what that means is I can start from a planned maintenance or service agreement, and in there I can see the equipment I'm supposed to support, and then I can see all the jobs against that equipment that I'm supporting. Or I can start from a piece of equipment and I can say, given this piece of equipment, what kind of planned maintenance is related to that, and when have I worked on it in the past and what did I do? Or I can just say, let's look at this location and show me all the activity from that. So very powerful in that way. I can basically start from any place and get a full view of the data very quickly.
Absolutely. And all the way down to work orders if you want. A lot of our clients want in their account management detail to even have the list of work orders. And that can be ordered by most recent, by open, by priority, etc. So to Dirk's point, all the information is available in one spot. And again, you see here that these are all hyperlinks. So you can drill down and see incident type thermostat broken. You can drill down here and see what that incident is about. If there's any notes, all the information is in one spot.
Yeah, so imagine that I'm trying to work on a thermostat that I'm not familiar with. I can just look at the list and say, oh, 3 years ago, someone else worked on that. Let me open up the work order, and there's 3 pictures attached, and one of those pictures is details about the thermostat. Boom, Bob's your uncle.
Exactly. Back to giving the field technicians the information they need when they need it. So as part of the sales piece, the CRM piece, you also obviously have contacts. And I mentioned earlier the insights part. So here, for example, we put in Dirk, we put in Bellows College. The system goes in and says, well, Bellows College, Dirk, yes, we have a guy that's got that information. Here's all the information around him, past employment, that's from LinkedIn, and obviously Microsoft bought LinkedIn, so it's all tied in together. But this is really what allows you, when you type in a name or a company, to hit a button, a little update here, and that pushes all the account information automatically into CRM. So here we have what's called leads. Any CRM system will have leads, opportunities to be able to manage your pipeline. So here we have one of the features of Dynamics CRM is what we call the process bar. This allows you to specify the steps you want to track as part of your sales process. For example, it's preliminary, we've done a site survey, we've done a quote, whatever steps you want to dictate, it tells the sales team what information you want them to gather. Here's an example that you see here. What it also allows you to do is to see how long a lead or an opportunity has been stuck at a certain stage. So for example, Peter, one of your salespeople, might be moving his opportunities very quickly through to close, but John's opportunities might be mostly stuck in site survey or in quotes or in another stage. So it really allows you also to coach your sales team.
Yeah, and where this is really important is it gives you visibility to what your sales reps are doing and how they're progressing on their sales calls.
Opportunities, same thing. For us, for our business, when we have a lead come in, that can be someone that we've met at a trade show, someone that's called. When we qualify the lead, it automatically becomes an opportunity, and then we track the opportunity through the different stages. You can also attach quotes to an opportunity, so you might have for a given opportunity. You might have different work you're trying to do. You might be looking at installing a boiler. You might be looking at doing some other changes. You might need to put in some foundation work. So you can track all these different quotes against an opportunity, and once it closes, once you get the work, you can decide which of the quotes actually get turned into orders and into field orders. You have in the system work orders, so you can get to track all the work orders that are assigned to your technicians, down to descriptions, notes. We showed earlier the thermostat is broken, so all the information on your work order is always tied in. You always have the ability to go in and get all the details that you want. A work order will also have products and equipment. So as you go in and do preventive maintenance, you might need to bring replacement parts. So they're listed. You can pick which parts you use. The quantities flow through to your work order and to your cost. And you can also have all your equipment attached to the work order.
So one really nice feature in the system is this one location, the work order screen. This starts your estimating process and your quoting process. So then you can see your profitability, your expected margins. All that's visible at the quotation stage, and if you have the proper security permissions. When you convert it to a work order, you still have all your estimating and margin percentages, but the work order part is only the estimated work and then the actual work that your field techs see. When they close it out, you see the actuals, and all the margins are presented here for anyone with security who's allowed to see it. So in one place, you get the full view of your job. The other concept we have is you can group a set of work orders together into a job. So a job can be a complex piece of work that might take a long period of time or many different work orders, and you get all your margin, profitability, all that is broken down for the job level as well as at the work order level. So very powerful that way.
Absolutely. As part of the system, to be able to get the parts and do the maintenance, you need to have purchase orders. So purchase orders are all built into the same system. And then we've shown before, you've got your schedule board with all your maps that show where all your different people are. We'll go in and show you some of that in detail in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and here's a good example where the map part has been expanded, right? In the previous views, we showed you where the resources were almost full screen. So you can just move the screen in the middle one way or the other and either make the map larger or your resources larger.
And finally, you get full financials. You have your chart of accounts, all your financial reporting, your income statement, your balance sheet, everything is in one location. So all your work order, as they're complete, everything flows through to invoicing. As parts are used, it flows through, and you get all your financials out of one system.
Yeah, so no more dual entry of work order, of purchase order, of the time tracking, of your techs, timesheets. All that stuff is gone because it's all done once, straight into the system.
Let's actually look at some of the screens. So what we're going to do now is just quickly go through and show you some of the basic features of Dynamics CRM.
This is my favorite part.
This is your favorite part. Okay, so typically when you log in, you end up coming into a dashboard. So if I drop down here, you'll see that there's many dashboards available. So most of our clients like to have dashboards for different people. Salespeople have a dashboard, service managers have a dashboard, executives have a dashboard, and your dashboards are all customizable. If you happen to have seen our Learning Academy of our website, we have about 50 videos right now in our Learning Academy, and one of them shows you how to create your own charts and your own dashboard. So it's very easy to do, something we do as part of a project, but then most of our clients do their own afterwards. They can make as many changes and create as many dashboards as they want.
Yeah, and so myself as one of the senior executives at CRM Dynamics, I have a dashboard every morning, and at the end of the day, I check it, and it just gives me a level of confidence that we're doing what we need to be doing and nothing's going off track. It's just great.
Out of the dashboards, all the information is shown, but if you look at the sales activity dashboard here, for example, if I'm a salesperson, I want to create a new lead, the plus button here has a lead record. If I want to create a new opportunity, hitting plus here creates a new opportunity. So it's not just showing information, but it's really the home page for your people. And we always want to put in there the ability to also create any records or any activities that they need to do on a regular basis. The other thing we wanted to show you is we talked about the scheduling board. So what you see here is we've got a map, as Dirk pointed out. The map can show traffic. The map can show aerial, can be down to street side, which is a feature that Google has. So if you want to see what does the building look like when you're going somewhere, you can actually see it. So all these are all information that are available. So you see here we have a lot of people. We have 81 technicians. Well, if we go to filter here, you can decide, because some of our clients have several organizations, have several branches, so you can decide to pick a branch or an organization or a group or a territory to really bring down this list. So if you have a scheduler that takes care of a territory or of a branch or of an area, that person can have a screen that shows just the right people with just the work orders that are relevant for that scheduler.
Yeah, and if you have a filter that you use a lot, you can save it and it becomes one of the options right above where it says filter map view. It would just have your new name right there.
Absolutely. Now, from the map, we can drag and drop work orders and assign work to people. That's easy. But really where the system starts to shine is if I highlight a work order and I right-click and I say find available resources. So what the system does, it does a lot of the work for us. So what it's done here, if you look at the filter, this work order is a medical system MRI maintenance. So in this work order, it's set up that you need to have an MRI certification. And you need to be in the right territory. You need to be within a 2-hour, it's a 2-hour work order. You need to be within 20 miles. So it's telling me, well, based on the 20 miles, based on the MRI, based on when the work order is supposed to happen, these are the people available. And if I select Van Amundsen, he has a 17-minute travel time. Victor has a 12-minute travel time, and Wilson has a 21-minute travel time. It can be set so that the employees start from the previous location, from home in the morning, or from the office.
And just to be clear, this has filtered people that are available right now. So if one of these people in the morning took an emergency call, they wouldn't have shown up here because they would have been on the call.
Absolutely. They would show in gray. So they would show either unavailable or you would see a work order that they've done. So if I pick, for example, Wilson, all you do is click book, and there we go. So Wilson is now booked, and he's now, so that is now assigned to him. If he was on his handheld, he would see that appear on the work that he's supposed to do.
That's great.
So it's that easy to create work and see who's doing what.
So I think we could spend hours going through the software and showing you step by step all the different pieces. But let's skip that in the interest of making this not a day-long presentation and get back to our presentation, and we'll hopefully just show you the last few parts and close it out. And of course, when we do demos, we have webinars available. We can walk you through any parts of this or any questions you may have.
So as a wrap-up, how to compete and win in your industry. So this is a summary. So take control of your field service team. So know where they are, know where they're going, know what kind of work they're working on, how much time they've spent. So get the information to be able to manage it and be able to be responsive and get the right information to your clients. Empower the service workers, but keep it simple. So give them the information they need, but don't make it too complex. Don't give them a screen on their phone with 15 menu items and 200 fields per menu item. That's not helpful. They'll use it once, they'll close it, and they'll never open it again. So give them the information they need, but keep it simple. Provide better service. So what's important to your customers? Is it for them to know when you're going to show up? Is it for them to know that you're responsive? What is important for them, and make sure you give them what is important. So accurate invoicing with supporting documentation and pictures. Is that important? If it is, build that into the system. It's available. Is it first call resolution? So do you want to make sure you have the right person with the right skill? We just showed how to select the person with the right skill. Is it the person that has the right inventory in their truck? So really drive first call resolution. That's a priority for your clients and for you. Is it accurate scheduling? Do your customers want visibility on the schedule? So they want to know where your people are going to show up, what time they're going to show up, which day. Do they have a preferred person that they want to see at their site when someone comes in? It's really about connected field service. Do they want to be able to also give you information on their devices and for you to be able to be more proactive? So all these different things are really what's going to make the difference for you to be able to compete and win.
Well, thank you, Pierre. I think you did a fantastic job here. I really appreciate you taking the time. It's been a pleasure, as usual, walking through this with you. We have here our contact information, both emails and phone number. We'd be happy to hear from you. Any questions, any information, please reach out to us. We look forward to talking. Thank you very much.